It's Mari McInerney from Croaky, and we're at the VicHealth Health Promotion Awards, and I have two of our finalists here for one project. Would you be so kind to introduce yourselves?
Absolutely. My name is
Hello.
Tristan.
My name is Bec, and together we are All the Queen's Men. We're a Melbourne-based arts company, and we create what we like to call creative actions that engage very specific and diverse communities of interest in sort of social frameworks that really celebrate the best that humans can be. So we're very passionate about that as artists, and really hopeful that our projects and our initiatives are a space for social transformation.
Fantastic. Well, you've done one of those social transformations, and you staged the Coming Back Out Ball last year in Melbourne. Can you tell us about that? What was it, and why was there a need for it, and what has it created? Let's start with, what was the Coming Back Out Ball?
Sure. The Coming Back Out Ball was a large-scale social transformation project that was built over a number of years, culminating in a large celebration, a takeover of one of Melbourne's largest civic spaces, but it was really about giving a number of opportunities in terms of social, political and creative actions to lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans and gender diverse and intersex elders, people over 65. We were inspired by a lot of research that was happening here in Victoria through Val's LGBTI Ageing and Aged Care, a project partner of ours, and also some of the research that was done by Dr. Catherine Barrett, which was about older LGBTI people that were going back into the closet when they were accessing aged care services, closeting their sexual, gendered or cultural identity because they didn't feel safe in those contexts. And as artists and also as people that were really these issues were very personal to us, we wanted to create a large action that was really acknowledging many people's different lived experiences, but by being able to create a very, very large cultural event, we were able to deal with a number of the social issues that were being researched and pioneered, but actually place that in the forefront of both media, within the community and within the broader community as well.
So let's talk about that. What was the event like, and how did it address those issues? Because there's some very big ones there, and you're talking about a group of people who really experienced great harm and were considered illegal in their day. What was the event like, and what did it do?
Well, it was a big, gorgeous ball, and in the spirit, we were saying to these very special people, come back out. Come here, you'll be really, we promise you'll have a great time. And we really worked very hard to create a space that was so deeply inclusive and intersectional, really in every aspect of conceiving the experience for the elders. It was really important to us that the event had all the bells and whistles of a big fabulous night out, but it was also deeply accessible. That was really important to us, so it could be as diverse and truly inviting and representational as possible. So, top-end professional artists performing at this big fabulous 3-course meal, very zhuzhy experience in the Melbourne Town Hall. With this great sense of a coming together in this moment. The first time the ball was created, it happened to fall exactly at the same time as the same-sex marriage debate, which meant the whole thing felt incredibly historic. So it was a very charged feeling in the room on that particular night. So 600 people were just sort of leaning forward to feel truly celebrated and loved. And we talked about the ball very specifically as a gift to recognise that a lot of these people have lived their lives not feeling safe at all.
And I think that's an interesting thing. That was one event, but it was actually built over 2 or 3 years. The community engagement process and the consultation with the community was really the work as well, in terms of making sure that we created access points for many different LGBTI elders to be able to tell us what actually should be happening. And through that consultative process, we were able to actually deal with one of the major issues that is facing older populations, which is social isolation, which is even more acute for the LGBTI community when you think of the fact that many of these people don't have the traditional family structures in terms of support, and also are closeting themselves again later in life as well. So for us, the actual project was built over a number of times. It did culminate in this fantastic event, And the event we were able to then talk about many of the other issues that were informing the social mission of the project.
Yeah.
We led a really large media campaign that was a national campaign, which was really using the many individuals and lived experiences to be able to profile during that time, but then that being an opportunity to really be thinking about how we can consider ensuring that all events are inclusive, if we're really thinking about what inclusive means, which is also an intergenerational conversation as well, but also just being really aware that that many LGBTI elders are really suffering significantly with social isolation. It is really a significant mental health issue that needs to be considered and addressed by the community, both within the LGBTI context but the broader context as well. But also the socio and economic context of many of these people is really profound and quite troubling when you think about the fact that there's a generation of older gay men, for example, who have lived through the HIV and AIDS epidemic that are still living with those contexts but don't necessarily have the opportunity to be able to be out and sustain their lifestyle because of that traumatic period of time. There are older gay men that were imprisoned that are only 2 years ago had their criminal records expunged. So the mental health negotiations and impact of what that would be is really profound and significant. And we're also have met many people that do feel completely isolated from the mainstream society simply because there are still, as we see in a political context, people discriminated because of their sexual or gendered or cultural identities. And that is really significant. When you think of that with a group of people that have lived through their whole life, they did not have the privilege of being able to come out in whatever capacity and feel safe in doing so. There's a historical backlog of why you would be living with such significant mental and social issues and trauma and impact. So the event was a great culmination of many different forms, and being able to address that through the power of the creative arts was something that was quite profound.
It was.
And I think that it was important to read, one, you had an evaluation done, but two, that you've continued the work since. It wasn't one-off. Can you talk about that?
So something that was conceived and sort of runs alongside the development of the ball is a monthly LGBTI Elders Dance Club, which was really established as a lovely, discreet social space that LGBTI elders can come to every month. So that's going into its 3rd year now. Which is really wonderful, and every month, sure enough, we get new people coming each time.
And piloted throughout Victoria as well, so many dance clubs, and interstate now as well. So there are, we'll be launching that in Tasmania next year as well. So.
And it's so great that off the back of that, councils are sort of pricking their ears up and going, oh, there's a lot of work that needs to be done here, and we can do, by offering these beautiful creative actions that are very gentle and very safe. So that's really exciting to see that really going out far and wide. So we keep Dance Club going, and literally off the back of the first ball, came to Dance Club the next month and everyone said, see you next year. So we were very happily surprised that it's trying to carve out a space on the social calendar, that people are recognising its cultural significance to have this large-scale kind of celebration. Whilst continuing to build a community through all these other offers that we make out in the community. So in 2018, literally a couple of weeks ago, we had our second coming back out ball in the Melbourne Town Hall.
You can come back out again.
It's a thing. It's a thing. And similarly, full to the brim. It was a beautiful intergenerational space as well. We have a lot of young people who come to the event to support it, sometimes in a voluntary capacity, sometimes as guests.
And also, incidentally, this year landing in the middle of the time when the trans and gender diverse community were really being attacked and vilified by both in a federal context but also in an international political context as well. So the ability to come together as a community for an event that was made with, by and for the community was really significant. It was a free event for LGBTI elders, so the event was always offered as a gift. And now the model is actually being piloted and presented now around the world. We've just confirmed and launched a year-long partnership with the National Theatre of Scotland, which will be presenting the event and dance club throughout the next 12 months, culminating in an event there as well. So the value of the creative arts in terms of being able to shift people's health and well-being and mental health capacity is really significant, and we really do believe in the power of the arts, the creative arts, in being able to lead the way. The conversations that we've had with many people from aged care facilities in terms of social spaces, in terms of those leading in terms of policy, are now looking towards us as being able to sort of combine those two worlds together, and so we're very excited that it'll happen in Scotland. It'll also happen again in Australia nationally, and there's also the presentation of it happening in Asia as well. So then we think about the different communities where being LGBTI is completely outlawed or completely still illegal, and so there's some really exciting possibilities for the future of the work as well.
Fantastic. Thank you both very much.